Perfect. Alrighty, so we're heading live from the veranda, hoping that you can see everything from here. I think you've got me there. Just wait 1 second until I'm able to bring our other guys on live here, which is going to be our hello Facebook people. I am running a little bit earlier today just because I've got some great light and I thought it might be nice to sit out whilst we've got still got some afternoon sun before we lose light, and so that we get a better visual from this angle as well. Finding it a little bit harder at night when the lights are not so strong. So hopefully this will be a really great way for me to finish our lives and our videos that will be hosted on the current Pure Yoga Facebook page. Well, this is a 45-minute afternoon flow. It's a nice way to get some energy back still into the body, not too strong, but enough to not overdo it, but certainly enough just to revitalize, perhaps after a big day at work, which I'm sure many of you are experiencing in this current climate and current circumstances. So jump on board. Let me know that you're there. Get ourselves started. I will start on the ground. It'll be a 45-minute flow class. If you've got any props with you, feel free to bring them along with you. But as we begin sitting in, we call this Sukhasana, easy sitting pose. Remember that if sitting with the legs crossed is not as comfortable for you as perhaps sitting with blocks or bolsters underneath the pelvis, nice way to support ourselves here. Feel free to prop on up. Those people who have jumped on board for our group page, our community page, which is our monthly and our which will eventually, of course, be our monthly program that we run. I'm going to offer you something a little bit special regarding props when I return back on Wednesday. Bring the hands either to the heart center, to the lap, or to the thighs. Just get comfortable and settle in for me here. We will work through a few minutes of breath work. We call this pranayama. It really just sets the scene and brings us to the breath. If it's comfortable for you to subtly allow the head to drop, we will do so. If you'd like to close your eyes, again, that's another beautiful way to connect into the breath. You might hear the birds chirping around me. You might even hear the odd cry of the animal. Just allow your senses to be fully opened. Allow yourself just to ease into the breath, knowing that your breathing comes slowly in and out through the nose. Allow each breath to come in, not just only slowly, but see how smoothly. See also how steadily the breath can come in, that there's no sort of jerkiness to each breath. And you'll hear me often say that the breath should come with ease, and that's just simply because we don't want to ever feel like that there's any force or that there's any strain to the breathing that we take. Now, you may not know, but the lungs have 5 lobes to them. And when we take an inhalation, we want all 5 lobes of the lungs to be filled to their fullest capacity. Perhaps you can try that for me. Now on the next few breaths, seeing if we can take a fuller breath. Can we fill the lungs from their very base, from the very lower lobes of the lungs, all the way up to the very top. Filling the lungs so that they expand. We get this rise into the chest, perhaps a bit of an expansion into the belly. And all of that breath gets emptied as we exhale and as we fully let go of the breath, literally like we'd be wringing out a sponge. We know that when we do that, we want to empty the contents. This is exactly what we want to do here. Take a full deep breath in. Filling the lungs and the belly to full capacity, letting go as we starting to feel the body soften on that exhalation. To really allow any of the outside noises or distractions, whatever they might be, sit in the background of the mind. And it's okay to observe them, because there will always be distractions, that dog barking, the car honking, the kids chatting, but just not enter into the whole realm of the conversation that might evolve if we are to let that be part of our life. So full deep breaths in. Stay with this for another 3 breaths. Starting to feel how the body eases into softness as we sit here. We'll take one last breath before we start to open the hips a little stronger than where we are in Sukhasana. Start to bring your awareness back more by creating movement in both the fingers, toes, and maybe a very subtle, slight opening and closing of the eyes. But still keeping the gaze with what we call relatively soft. We're going to remove any props that you might have supporting you, be it your bolster or your blocks. Pop them off or out to the side if that feels comfortable for you. When you're ready to change this position into what we call cobbler's pose or Baddhakarasana or butterfly pose, bring your soles of your feet together on this one, and we want to hold onto the feet. We allow the knees to draw out and away from the body, but just soften down towards the floor a little more. Mindful of what happens to the spine. Sometimes we get a little, complacent and we let the body round. Try thinking of the spine or the body being long and lengthened. And imagine that our knees can draw out away from us and soften down towards the floor, almost like we can get those little femur bones out of the hip socket and down towards the floor more. Bring yourself forward on the exhale now. So the elbows can gently rest into the legs, the chest, the head's over. And it's a nice way to start to open up through the groin and through the pelvis. If we've been sitting a lot, because I know many of you might well be working from home and perhaps not moving around maybe as much as what you might say in an office place, or even the fact that you might have to be sitting at the desk area for long periods of time. And sometimes our home offices aren't as ergonomic as perhaps the work one is. These hips will start to really feel it, and they will definitely start to talk to you. They'll definitely tell you that they're getting stiff and tight. Now, as we take the load off those legs, very slowly on the inhale, allow the body to draw up. Help and support the legs by coming together, nice and slowly forming from here. So I'm going to go now on my side. You can stay lengthways down your mat. Cross your right leg over your left leg for me here. And again, we're mindful of not collapsing to the back. So you might just pop the hands around behind the back of you. Again, it's not important how these hands would be. If they're slightly elevated into these little mangrove fingers, go there for me. But your top leg will draw your bottom leg down towards the floor here. It starts to open up the side of the leg and into the hip more. This is a really nice way of also starting to stretch out through the side of this leg. We'll bring the knees back towards the center and get ready to switch the other leg, cross it over and draw it down to the other side. And again, don't stress if you don't have a mat. This can just easily be done on the floorboards at home, or honestly, even on carpet. Bringing the legs slowly back to the center. We'll go there again. This time, got the option of taking the stretch slightly stronger. You've got the same idea of those knees pulling down to the edge of the mat. But rather than sort of letting our trunk go with us, try to turn your chest away from it. So where I'm rotating over, my head and my neck are going into rotation. So I'm supporting a nice stretch through the neck. And I can go one step more if my hips are comfortable with that. And it might be imagining that I can pull, in this instance, my left bottom cheek down to the floor a little bit more. You'll start to notice how it gets deeper into the glute muscles and into that stabilizing piriformis muscle. A little bit stronger. Now allow the shoulders to ease off. Bring yourself back to center as we do. We'll take that ankle on to the knee. And then collect, and we'll grab hold of the shin bone. When you're ready, we'll walk that foot in closer towards us. We do this one often lying on the floor. It's you'll hear me often refer to it as, say, threading the needle, or sometimes a figure four. It looks like that figure four. Help pull yourself in nice and close towards those that leg here. As we inhale, we'll ease softly away, lengthen that leg long, and skip or jump the top leg over. You'll grab hold, opposite arm grabs this knee. So as I hold on to the right knee, it'll be the right hand that goes once again back around to support me. Lift tall through the spine, breathe out as we twist. Spines love going into rotation, particularly if we've had a day where we have sat in those desks for long periods of time and that lower back gets a little bit compressed. It does like to be opened up. Spine does really need to move in all facets, in all directions. Breathing, come the other way. Now we're going to send this twist the other way. So you'll hold on to it with the same arm, but you'll twist the other way. Press down through this sole of the foot as we go further into the twist. Breathe in as we allow the body to ease and come back off. Sole of the foot into the inside of the long leg now. So we call this Janu Shavasana. Sometimes I'm just, I often love making up names for poses and easy layman's Aussie terms. I just call this half-half. I have half a leg bent. It's half that butterfly pose, but it's a full hammy stretch over on this long leg. So breathe in, extend the arms up. This is going to get us out of those hips. We'll head forward on the exhale. Chest comes towards the thigh. Feel like the crown of your head can extend down towards this ankle. Soften around the neck and the throat. Activate the hamstring and the calf by pulling back those toes. Again, it is not crucial that you hold on to a foot, but you might grab a part of the leg. That's all the mechanism we need to bring us a little lower and a little deeper into it. Breathing out, chest to thigh, crown of the head towards this foot. Taking the breath in, the trunk slowly comes up and lifts. Once again, we'll jump this right leg over the top of the left. The left will then start to swing around behind us. Now, you're welcome to leave it into this pose. It's called Lord of the Fishes pose, or in Sanskrit, we call it Matsyendrasana. It's again another deep stretch into this glute. However, some people might go that next layer and take it into head of the cow. It's a little stronger as you lower that leg down on top, but again, all purely optional. Hands for here will start us onto the floor, little mangrove fingers as we lead with the chest. Okay, and I say that because we'll deepen into the hamstrings as we go there, as opposed to rounding the back, and that's literally all it is. It's just stretching the back. So we're thinking here, hinging from the hips to take the stretch longer and deeper into this supporting front leg here. Let's see if we can settle into this stretch. Maybe one or two more breaths. And then any of the inhales will bring us back up to stack. Let's take the arms into what we know as the traditional arms that go with this pose, and that will be arm. So I'm going to choose the same arm as my leg I have in front here. That arm runs down my back. I either grab it with the opposite arm, so I'm going to grab hold of it with my left hand, or if these shoulders allow us, the arm will come around underneath us and we'll come and find the fingers back here behind. We know this is not always easy, particularly when the shoulders are stiff and tight, and this can happen when even the chest, the pec muscles are quite tight as well. So again, we always have options, and it's so important when we practice that we know our limitations, and we also need to know that less is often more. You know, there's no value, there's no merit in pushing, merit in forcing and taking our body. And then when we take our body, we take our minds into, if we take our bodies into the wrong place, we take our minds to the same place. Let's start this all over, this journey over onto the other side. So unravel the legs. If they're feeling a little stiff because we've had them compressed for so long, feel free to give them a little wriggle, a little shake out. As we head over to the other side, we've got in this instance, I have that left leg crossed over the right. I'm dragging them both down towards the floor. This time with a twist to the opposite direction of the knees. So as my knees have headed there to the left, my body is going and twisting to the right. We had that same idea of trying, so you can see how it's tempting for this glute to be off the floor, but if I try to attach it back down to the mat, I definitely can notice the difference there in that deeper glute muscle. Again, we re-neck. Some necks don't like going into full rotation, and not so much that they don't like to, they just don't have that range. You know, some people might think, you know what, this is about where I can get to. If I go any further, I'm straining and I'm forcing. Then take it to the range that it feels, you know, comfortable with. And if it means that the eyes are slightly down because that's softer on your neck, then that's where it goes. When we take that next breath in, we'll float knees back to center. Find figure 4 again for me. So ankle at the thigh, walk and collect those hands, holding our shins, conscious that we're not being thrusted back by this, but we're actually trying to sit upright. So as opposed to that round back, we're lifting to the chest. So we're leading with the sternum. And it's like we're being super proud. Last week I talked about the importance of pulling back this big toe to engage the ligaments and tendons around this ankle joint. This is very, very important if you ever feel massive strain and discomfort down there at that ankle. So that opening over here in this left hip as the muscles start to become less reactive in this stretch. Now the leg we're holding on to will eventually become that long leg. So again, extend the leg out. We jump the top leg over the bottom leg and we'll grab it with the opposite arm. Come around to the back of this hip, twist. Keep the length in the spine. Perhaps go a little further on your exhale if the body feels that it merits the extra deeper twist. You can even extend that arm out. So if you felt like you wanted to engage a little bit more chest, the idea of extending that arm longer out the back is a nice option here as well. Take the arm to grab hold of the leg. So same arm, same leg. Continue that twist, left and rotate in this direction. Again, mindful of what this neck is happy for you to accept. Part of that twist. Perfect. Breathe in as we come out of the twist. Skip the foot onto the inside of the leg for me here as we take and activate the back of the leg. We know this is the bladder line when we talk about that training that I've just done, that Zen Tai flow, which is very much looking at the shiatsu principles and definitely what they call TCM, traditional Chinese medicine. Lots and lots of merit in in looking at alternative and certainly holistic methods of movement, and in some of the flows that we'll do on our private Facebook group for obviously those people who have paid for their month of yoga, as we would, different to when we're in the studio. You'll get to experience some of this Zen type flow training, and we work on the elements: wood, earth, metal, fire, and water. They're the Chinese medicine elements, and then we look at the meridians. So bladder is what we're on at the moment. We want to release on the inhale, very slowly bring the trunk back up. As we jump that bent leg over the top, we'll roll over onto the side to swing the leg over. Some people will keep this as Matsyasana. We'll go there first of all. So opposite arm holds the leg. Same hand as that bent leg goes around behind us. Even with this one, just as something to give you as a variation, because I know a lot of you have practiced with me for quite some time, and does that hand always have to go here? No, it doesn't have to. It could go around behind your back. It could come and try and find another point through the inside of my right leg. We come out of it on that next inhalation. When we go into a further version of a hip opener, the head of the cow pose. You're welcome to keep it where it was. And I think we all need to be mindful and always reminded that in our practice, it's important to remember that even if we're in a class situation, it doesn't matter what anyone else around me might be doing. Because when we come to the mat, we come to our mat. Okay? And that's where our own practice is. And we need to honor that. The more that we start to learn about the importance of listening and honoring our own bodies, sometimes there's a few little wake-up calls that come out of that. This is me telling my younger 22-year-old self that used to push herself to the brink until she would break. Nice. So we're going to come back up on the inhale. You'll find those traditional arms, and it'll be same arm, same leg, gets bent and runs down the spine. You know the option of holding on to the elbow or the one of coming around behind. Now, I find this extremely challenging on this second side, not so challenging on the first side, but this is the side for me that I obviously had my shoulder recon was on this side. So that limits, because of all the fascial layers that went around that area to repair it, that's going to limit my range. And you will be exactly the same. No doubt you'll find that I've got one shoulder that's really cooperative. You might have another one who just doesn't want to quite play the game. And guaranteed there's a really valid reason, for that. So I still want the stretch. I'm going to hold on to the elbow in order to do that. So that's given us a nice wake up. We've been able to wake up arms. We've woken up the shoulders. We've brought a little bit more release to our hips. And I'm going to pick up the pace for us from here. We're going to start to go into a vinyasana flow. If you're not familiar with some of the terminology here, a vinyasana basically means a sequence, a fluid movement where one pose is pretty much stacked after the other. So when you're ready to come up onto hands and knees, unravel these legs, try and set everything into a stacking aspect. And I say that because we want to make sure that all of our joints are under one another where appropriate, because that's what gives us the greatest strength and the greatest stability from here. Allow the toes to tuck under. When you're ready, you'll find down facing dog. We want to lift up and extend back into the legs. So our legs should already stay there at hip width apart. Our hands were in line with the shoulders, so they should be in the right position. We always spread the fingers because we really want to make sure that we've got good surface area covering the floor. And we also want to make sure that we haven't locked out a joint. Okay, so yes, the arms are straight, but they're not in this locked position.
We want shoulders sliding down the back. We want our head heavy. We want it hanging between the arms. And for your gaze, it's going to be at your knees or at your shins here. In terms of the legs, we want to feel like a weightedness or a heaviness, heels pulling down to the floor, and your sit bones lift and rise upwards towards the ceiling. We're going to lead out the back with the right leg. So it's what I call a three-legged down dog. Good. And it allows us to drop a little deeper down into that right leg. When you're ready to breathe out, bring your knee into your chest. Look forward. We're going to come up high on the right foot and bring the knee forward. We're not going to go into a lunge just yet. Yeah. Breathe in. Extend to the leg out the back. Breathe out, knee to chest. High on the ball of that left foot. Pull forward. So you're almost like in this, I'm going to call it high plank. Back to that leg extending behind. Get ready for one more. Breathe out. Pull up. Round forward. Nice. Breathe in, extend the leg out the back. Kick the heel into the bottom when you're ready. And maybe go into a bit of a hip opener. It's here that you can look up underneath that armpit, but check out what's going on in those arms. How they start to drop and then collapsing on you. Or can you keep the energy and the strength and the power in those arms? Good. Breathe out, close the heels back down, and your 2 feet return back to your down facing dog. Where you'll inhale, go into a full range plank. Breathe out, drop down to your knee. Come to chin and bend into your elbows. Go straight back out of this on your exhale. Press, 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 press. Drive through those arms. Good. Breathe in if you need a little rest into child's. If not, go back into down dog for me. I'm just giving you options just to break between the two sides. If you had enough of a rest, inhale, hands and knees, exhale up into down dog. Take the three-legged down dog on your other leg. Drop down into your right heel. Start to feel it. Watch the hips don't start to twist just yet. So your hips are still square. Breathe out, bring your knee into your chest, high onto the ball of the left foot, pull forward. So it's a rounded back. Inhale back into your three-legged down dog. Exhale, knee to chest, high ball of the foot. Off we go again. Breathe in, back to three-legged down dog. Let's go one more time. Exhale, pull forward. Good. Inhale, head it back. Drop that left heel, close your right heel into your bottom. Open up the hip, and we're looking underneath the other side, the other armpit now. Good. Check out both arms are just as strong as they were for the side. Breathe out, close the hip into the body, 2 feet back onto our mat. You'll find a plank pose on the inhale. That will then go to our knees. Then our chin will go down, our arms will glide by, our ribs get ready to press straight back up and out. Go find child's pose for me here for a quick rest. Then I'm going to move my bolster because we don't need it that close to me. And a little blocky thing. Perfect. You are ready then to come back up onto hands and knees on the inhale. Exhale, down dog, tuck toes under. This time lead back with the left leg, knee to chest, heel to bottom, knee to chest. Look forward to where the hands are and step there now. Drop your back right knee. Left knee, I should say. And the shin goes onto the floor and you're in a low lunge for me here, like a low crescent lunge. As you stay here, start to draw that left hip forward towards the front edge of the mat. A little stronger as we make it more active. We breathe out, tuck the toes under on that back right leg, lift the back of the knee up off the floor. It's a little stronger once again as we take this version. Leave your right hand balancing onto the floor, the left hand I should say, and open your right arm upwards towards the sky. Some people will be looking straight out in front. Otherwise you might look up at that hand, to your choice. Good. And then breathe out, frame that front foot with the two hands once again. Breathe in for me from here and open up the other side. So the reverse goes the other way. Exhale, return the two hands back, framing that front foot. Get ready to then inhale, press through that front foot. Hands will come to prayer. You're hovering this time off that thigh. So if these legs start to fatigue and tire, drop the back knee down. Otherwise, you've got this slight angle for me here. Get ready to send the arms out the back so they're parallel to one another. And then on the inhale, arms come up
Back to parallel to ears. Breathe out, hands come to the heart center. Hook the right elbow over the left knee. We've gone into a deeper twist this time around. Good. Now you might be able to split these arms again. This time my bottom arm, my left arm's pressing into the leg as my top arm opens. A little stronger again now. Frame those feet. Exhale, down dog. I know those legs are getting tired. And it's important not to overload them. It's important to work them. But it's certainly not, we're not in the game of trying to really trash those legs. You're ready to come back into an inhale. Some people will go back down to the knees as we lower down. Otherwise, it's a full exhalation, lowering right down to the floor. And that's where we get to breathe in to our cobra. Cobras, I call this baby cobra. Full cobra is like loading out through these arms, but baby cobra is a nice way to really strengthen those back muscles and really encourage the upper back to do the work. Not trying to lift my legs or my feet. And if you feel comfortable with no hands, you could even release your hands off the mat. Try to make the back do even more work for you. Soften the hands back to the floor. Breathe out, hands and knees. Return back to down facing dog. And we get to do this all again on the other side. So begin to lead this time with the left leg. Good, knee to chest. Step on through. You want to look first. Then we softly step. Once we've softly stepped, drop down to that back knee. Let's just prime up those hip flexors first of all. This muscle through here, there's many. That's why we call them the hip flexors, because there are many that sit in or under the umbrella of this muscle grouping. But primarily there's a muscle we call the psoas muscle, and it's a bit of a naughty old muscle. It tends to overwork sometimes, and it can be often an instigator to why these backs can be very niggly. So we want to try and stretch out these guys here in front of this hip joint here. So pulling that right hip bone forward towards the front part of the mat. Then breathing out, letting your chest softly rest onto it. Tap the toes under on this back right leg. Go a little higher for me now. So I've still got support. Now let's say you can't and you want blocks to help you out. You can bring them in. Remember, blocks could be books. Blocks could be like I had in Bali, 2 little glasses. You want to try and keep them the same size, the same height though, if it's important. Keep the right hand down to the floor. Open that left one up. So we've got this little twisting number happening here. We primed everything up. We were doing all those seated twists, so we should be able to get nice range here. Take that hand down to the floor. Your twist will go the other way. Nice. Good. And breathe out. Return the hands back down towards the floor. Now, in order to lift up, we have to press down. Okay, so there has to be energy and force going down. My left foot's pressing down into the floor. I sit and I hover over that left thigh, hands sit into prayer position. Send the arms parallel out the back, long and straight, almost like I have a block here between my hands. Get ready to take the other direction, arms parallel, hugging the ears. And again, the same idea, like I've got that block back into my hands. Breathe out, hands to the heart center. Opposite elbow to knee. Okay, so right elbow across to the left knee. If we want to split, we can take it again. Here we go. Opposite arm to leg going down the floor. You breathe out, frame that front foot to get out of that front leg. Give it a break. Maybe we walk or we paddle those legs out. That's sometimes something a little nice to do. Get ready to anchor both heels equally down towards the floor. Good. That'll settle out the backs of the legs. You've got one plank for me here. Engage that core, pull up and into the belly. Breathe out for our nice slow control on the way down. Try coordinating the breath and the movement. Here comes that cobra on our inhale now. Good. See if we can go no hands. Breathe out, soften the palms back down to the floor. Breathe in, back onto all fours. Take a quick rest into child as we breathe it out. Come to all fours again on the inhale. This time we will make sure that we very are much stacked again. Send us into a little bit of core work on this next stage here. And that's going to be done with the left leg, the right leg extending out the back here. Watching we don't twist. Keep that core in firm and tight. When you're ready, add the opposite arm to this. So it would be my left arm and my right leg. bend the back knee. My back right leg gets bent and my left hand swings around to collect the foot. Try drawing your heel towards your bottom. See how we can go at stretching into the front of that quadricep. I know some people might start off with this one with their knee down onto the mat just to get a center of balance. Then you might be able to lift the leg up, or you might even just need to keep it down there, and that's all okay too. We're going to release the leg back out long one more time with the arm reaching then out in front. Bring your left hand back onto the floor. Step your leg, long leg out the back, off to the side. You are going to be off your mat. That's okay. Bring the trunk up for me from here. Extend the left arm up to the ceiling. The long leg, its arm, runs down the inside of the leg. It's what we call gate pose or Parigasana. The idea here is now I'm going to open up through this side rib cage. So opening up and breathing into that side here. Chest revolves around towards the sky. Long extended top arm. Inhale, come back up. Breathe out, bring your hands back onto the mat. Good, bring your two knees back in. Let's work on the other side. So again, we're taking opposite arms to leg. Left leg, right arm. Now, even if you think, you know what, I can just do a leg, then that's okay. And we might come up onto those little mangrove fingers again, or we might come up onto a tip finger. Always a little more challenging to literally have this opposite arm and leg. We have to engage that core. Okay, so if we're not pulling our belly button away from the floor, then our belly's hanging out, okay, and it's not active, it won't be working for us. You come around, you collect the foot with the hand, you squish heel to bottom, you keep that thigh nice and high, particularly if you want to start to feel some work in that quad. Now this is about the core, so it shouldn't be about how powerful I am in my arms. So I'll suggest to us that we don't load down into our left wrist, but we feel light, so we pull our armpit away from the floor as we do this. Good. Hand back onto the floor, leg back onto the floor from here. Actually, sorry, leg out to the side, so I don't have that much room. So I'll go onto my floorboards here, but it's leg out to the side as we come back up. It should be my right arm coming down into my ear, and my left arm's following the inside of my left leg, now opening up this channel that literally is down this side of the body here. So again, a nice way to create space into these compressed ribs. A lot of times, many of our issues can come from the thoracic. A lot of physios are now working with refixing what they call the thoracic rings. Good. As we inhale, come back up for me from here. Hands will go back onto the floor. Let's go back and revisit our down facing dog pose here. On the inhale this time, lift up onto the balls of the feet. We're going to turn the toes towards the left edge of the mat, and we're going to keep turning them. And then we're going to plant the feet down to the floor. If they don't go right to the edge of the mat, that's okay. Press the palms of the hands go forward. This is to stop us from shifting forward at this point in time. All the way forward with those hands, and it'll send us back into these heels. Go back up, spin, pivot, plant. Good. Press the hands forward to the front of the mat. Feel this nice and strongly up into the top hip and waist. Come back up, balls of the feet, inhale. Let's go back to our very first side. Now we get to do this as a plank version. So I'm stacking my shoulders over my wrists, and I've got one foot literally in front of the other. You could drop onto your knees if you would like to modify or make any variations to this. Otherwise, you could stay in full plank and head off into side plank. Okay, really pulling up through that side belly, really engaging this oblique section of the waist, and then come back, hands under shoulders, get ready, down we go again. Find that plank on the inhale. Good. Exhale, come down halfway, lose the hands. Inhale, hands go back onto the mat. Exhale, push up, press back. We revisit down dog with a spin and a pivot to the other side. Shift your weight over those wrists. Add a long arm. Look up
towards that hand if the neck allows us. Otherwise, you know that gaze can always sit nicely down here at that wrist or that hand. Good. Back to hands onto the mat, up, back. Refine your down dog. Here is another plank for you of your version, whatever it might be. I know some people it'll be at their knees. Take it down on the exhale. We have one cobra that comes from here. Good. Exhale, come down halfway, lose the hands on the inhale. Good. Breathe out, back to hands onto the mat, push up, press back, revisit down facing dog. I'm going to give us a few standing poses before we complete. It's always nice to have some balance poses via the feet. Come back, lift the left leg. Breathe out, bring knee to chest, look forward, step your hands there. Okay, press. We talked about rooting down through the foot to lift up. Press through that right foot, hands to heart. Soften into this back knee. This is our power push that we need to do. We're going to push off this back leg. We want to grab it. Okay, so balance, grab, hold. Bring it up and into the chest. And so it's like a really nice tight hug like we would if we were lying down on the floor. So we've done a little heel to bottom number with our opposite arm and leg. Let's try and revisit it down here. Take your left hand down to the ankle, swing the heel into the bottom, and add the opposite arm up to the ceiling. I know sometimes in the studio people are really happy to maybe hold on to, turn the other way and hold on to something. Feel free, if that's the case, to have something close by that can allow you to keep your balance. I tell the story, or I guess the philosophy of yoga, we have this word called your dristi, knowing where your gaze and your focus is both in life and your endeavors, but also in your day-to-day and practice. So find something that can keep your concentration, be it a speck or a non-moving object. Keep your eye on it as you tip it forward here. So as you come forward, that back leg starts to lift and the arm in front extends out. So keep your eyes, keep your gaze. When you come up on the inhale, keep the same gaze, connect to the breath. Drop the 2 feet together, both arms up and towards the ceiling, hands to heart. This is what we call an easy chair. Some people call it rocket pose. It's called Utkatasana when we talk about it in a Sanskrit capacity. And it's a nice way to start to power up those legs one more time. Press the palms firmly into each other, have elbows the same height as the wrists. Engage that belly and hang in here for me. Let's build that cauldron, that fire in the body, get some heat. Good. When you inhale, straighten back up, dive over. There's your exhale. Look at your knees. Let everything soften. Let everything go. Come into a half lift. The hands move to sit onto the thighs. And the back will straighten all onto the shins, wherever it feels that you can get some support. They don't have to. Some people can come up through here. I like to have this because it keeps me engaged a little bit more into my back muscle. Good. Breathe out. Release the hands back down to the floor. Step back both legs into down facing dog. Let's go back into another little flow if you're comfortable with it. Otherwise, either stay in down dog or go to child's. This is your plank, your cobra. Good. Back into down facing dog. We're going left leg leading now. We need to bring in the chest. We look forward. We soften our step towards that. We know we've got to push off. So drive down through that front foot, hands to heart. Soften into the back knee. That's where our power is. So you'll see I'm starting to press back to get into this. And I balance and I hold and I collect. Knee to chest. Find that dristi for me. Once you've got it, don't lose it. It's going to serve us a lot in the next few coming weeks and months, I'm sure, keeping our attention straight down that pathway, staying in our own lane. Yeah, tip forward, trying not to let ourselves get provoked. Super important. At this point in time, keep mind really focused. Know where you want to be. You'll come back up any time that you inhale. Remember, as slowly as we went down is how we go up. It's important is to come out of a pose as eloquently as you go into it,
Both arms up, both feet down. Here you go. Finish it off. Exhale. Half fold on the inhale. Lengthen, straighten the back. Exhale, both hands back down to the floor. Let's go step it on back. You've got that flow if you want to. Otherwise, feel free to sit it back into child's. And we'll all come back and we'll meet here in child's pose. Chest to thighs. Wriggle your way back. And allow your hips just to softly rock side to side. That's a nice way to ease out the back. Left to right here. Take a breath in. Unravel chin, chest. Bring the trunk slowly back up to a stack here. Interlace the hands around behind the bottom. This is, we call this hero pose. If it's way too strong for you, sit on a block or a bolster or just sit cross-legged. Hands come directly back behind us. Chest presses through. You'll see how these arms extend out the back behind us to keep the chest forward so that we can open up through these pecs. Again, another muscle group that, because of how today we are very device driven, and obviously even more so in the 21st century, the chest muscles often become very tight and cause us to round forward and lose that beautiful, elegant posture. Breathe out, bring those same arms through the front. Give me the same interlocking, but around the back like you would for cat. Drop chin to chest and feel yourself expand or open up the shoulder blades. Breathe deeply into the backs of the rib cage, into those lungs. Breathe out to soften, and then on your next breath in, up to the roof go those arms. Expand across the shoulders now. Breathe out, bring these arms slowly back to the lat for me here. We are going to press off the heels just a fraction. You can tuck them under for me now if that feels comfortable for you. This is often a nice stretch to do as well. Now, anyone who might wear shoes that restrict their feet can get quite a lot of cramping in the feet, and there's multiple reasons for it, but sometimes shoes can be a culprit. But the fascia in these feet can get very knitted together, and that can often be what can cause cramping. And can I tell you that having really good, pliable, mobile, lubricated feet will serve us well. I always think to myself, when I start to look at some of my injuries and my ailments, and I think, where's it coming from? I always start from here, and then I work my way up to my head, primarily because for me, this is the end of the chain. Yes, things like pelvises are, but at the end of the day, when your feet basically keep your bum up off the ground every day, then you've got to start to look at what's going on in that foot that might be affecting then my hips and my pelvis, which might then be affecting my thoracic. And then let's make some decisions from there. Come into, this is called rabbit pose, or sometimes they might even call it hare pose. It's a chest to thigh, and if you can, forehead touches the mat. This is the basic version, shall I say, in terms of, it's like a little a fancy child's pose. If you want to stretch the back a little more, you might hold onto your heels and you lift off these heels so the back rounds. And then I want to push my feet into my hands. So I've got a little bit of active work going on in these shoulder blades as my head rounds. Well, no, I'm not loading into my head. So it's like you would go into headstand. You're not jamming your weight into the head. It's ever so lightly touching, but I'm rounding my back to open up through the base of this neck here. Good. Ease back off, come up onto the heels, unravel very, very slowly, and come and stack the spine. Bring yourself around to being on the bottom. So
Swing the legs around and come onto your sit bones. As we creep our way very slowly down to the floor, if you've got something like a pillow or something that you might like to put underneath the backs of your legs, you can start to ease the legs over that bolster or a prop as you head back down towards the floor. Find the arms running softly and parallel down by the sides. As I start to take you into Shavasana, begin to come very slowly back and reconnect with your breath here. Yes, those same sounds and those same noises and those same distractions will probably still be there like they were at the start of class. But amazing when you had that ability to focus and concentrate on your poses, or we call them asanas, that your mind was able to be very focused on your task at hand. See if we can stay just as focused on relaxing. Know that there will be noises and sounds, but we will just let them sit in the background. We're going to put them on the back burner for 5 minutes for you just to absorb and take on all the beautiful effects the yoga practice. Feel the energy of the inhalation. Feel the release, the letting go, the relief on your exhale. Notice the chest and the belly rising and expanding on your inhalation. And how it just lets go on the exhale, how the chest shrinks, how the belly softens, and how it falls back. Start to observe how the back of your body literally feels as though it can melt into your mat or the floor that sits underneath you. How all the heaviness just literally lifts and subsides from the body. There's that sense of weightlessness that comes, the tension, or the tightness, or the heaviness. Literally like a cloud just lifts and floats away. We take another 3 breaths here. Start to bring yourself back
Start to awaken the body by perhaps some simple gestures of moving the fingers and the toes. Roll over to a side that feels most comfortable for you. And it's just like you're in bed and you're all curled up on your side and you're snuggled in. We don't want to get up too quickly. We want to savor that beauty of being fully calm and almost sedated in that state. And then again in your own time, gently pressing through the floor with those hands to bring your way up into sit. Keep the eyes still very soft. The gaze is always very gentle. We're easing ourselves back into the world. Come and bring the palms of your hands just into your heart. Let the thumbs soften into where the heart is. And we get to seal our practice by thanking each other, for giving each other the time and the love, the dedication, and the ability to come and practice together, no matter where we are, no matter what's going on in the world. You will always have your practice. Let's finish class together with Namaste. Namaste. So that concludes our live yoga videos on our current yoga Facebook page. If you would like to continue to join me, as our students tend to do on a monthly basis, because for us that's a nice easy way for us to pay our membership, so to speak, our monthly membership. It's $70 for the month, and we will get unlimited yoga. That means every day you will find something dropping into your inbox, some juicy new little piece of yoga to experiment with. And that could be anything from yin to restorative to a sun salutation series. It could be yoga for backs. It could be some yoga for kids. It could be yoga for the truckies. It could be a whole myriad of different aspects of yoga that you will always have on your system, in your page, on your page. Even if you can't get to see me live, that's not a problem. You can come back anytime and review any single video that has been posted on this or on the private community page. There'll be lots of motivational information, inspirational and educational information. There will also be meditations. Those people who are in my current online community group, get ready for an early morning, 6:30 morning meditation in the bush. So literally you can hear all the birds behind me. You will get to hear all of that tomorrow morning as we go live at 6:30 for maybe 10-15 minutes. Meditation does not have to be long. So enjoy the rest of your evening. I will sign off for you all now and look forward to seeing you tomorrow morning in the online group. Enjoy.